Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, led by the best defensive effort yet, the Red Raiders pick up the biggest win of the Joey McGuire era.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. And right now, new customers can bet only $5. And if your bet hits, you're getting $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So download the FanDuel app today. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you once again for this reaction episode, looking back to a whale of a day in the LBK, and it went the right way, of course, for the Red Raiders on the scoreboard, most importantly, as they dispatch of previously unbeaten BYU with extreme prejudice. We will get to things going on, obviously, between the lines, including first and foremost, what's happening on the defensive side of things, known now as the tip of your spear. And also want to talk about, of course, what we saw from Baron Morton and guys on the offensive side of the football, really running the ball well throughout the game. I thought you were effective with those ball carriers and found some explosive plays when you needed them down the stretch. We'll get to that coming up in just a moment. But Chris, wanted to kick off our conversation sort of concentrating, I guess, outside the lines with all that was going on in the LBK this week. An unforgettable experience for those who are in the thick of it. Maybe you were in an inflatable Barney suit doing a keg stand on Tuesday night on a college campus. I don't know. Maybe you're just watching it on video. But either way, we were all feeling the immaculate vibes, man. What a week. And thankfully you finished it off in the way you had to really make it just an incredible day.
Special week, special day, special weekend. I'm like yours. My brain is just absolute mush at this point. But everybody got to lay their head on the pillow Saturday night and think happy thoughts, man, because it was just the whole thing was just a giant love letter to Lubbock and Texas Tech. Honestly, Hallmark couldn't have written it any better. I mean, it just. You had as many possible distractions for a home game as you could possibly imagine, and yet you took care of your business in methodical fashion. It wasn't perfect, but just the basketball game Friday night was, near capacity crowd. JT Toppin comes back, and I'm trying to stay in that moment and stay focused, and I'm like, trying to get home as quick as I can, just because I knew that it was going to be such a quick turnaround, and left my house at about 6:30 or 7, somewhere around there, to head over to the stadium. And just as soon as I pull off Marcia Sharp, I was like, okay, here we go. Better turn your brain into that football mode. And there's just people everywhere. And the speakers, the crowd, the swag surfing, just all of it, man. And bumped into Nick Saban on Friday at the football building. McAfee was doing his show there in the basement. It is just, I thought Joey just crushed it. I thought Texas Tech crushed it. Like, from the standpoint of, they didn't miss a beat. Just all the potential pitfalls with organization and structure and trying to take advantage of a situation like this. I just thought they hit every right note. And then obviously all that anybody's really going to remember is the result of the game. But I know you and I had different perspectives, although probably very similar too, but because we were in the thick of it and working and all that stuff. But I just kept trying to, like, be quiet and, like, look around at different times and just take it in, because it's been a while, man. And this was fun. And you probably had nervousness and worries and concerns like I did, and like probably a lot of Tech fans did. Oh, here we go. I just know Lucy's about to pull the football away. The rug's about to get pulled out. But you're really good.
And you're really good where it matters. You're really good in an area that travels in an area that shows up Saturday to Saturday. And hopefully we can continue to say that when you're talking about some of the most physical aspects of any football team. Talked about it all week long last week. You're going to have to win in the trenches. And I thought overall you did. You're facing a team that previously had lost 0 games. And so they won a couple of those rounds as well in the trenches throughout the day, Chris. And we'll get to Baron Morton, a fleeing Baron Morton on many occasions. Unfortunately, too many coming up in just a moment. But yeah, it wasn't perfect. We always say that. I don't know where the perfect day is. Like I don't even know who's looking for someone to drop in and say, here was a perfect day. So I don't even care about that part of it. You did enough to win a fist fight. And really, like I said, you did it with extreme prejudice. You get off to another incredible start in the first quarter. And it's not just lighting it up with 6s in all directions. But, Chris, the tally now with another week in the rear view when it comes to points scored for you and the other guys in the first is insane. And I know you remember some of these years where it's like, God, how can we get ourselves going? How can you get out of the locker room or out of the tunnel or whatever to get going in the first quarter? That specifically has not been a problem for this team this year. They have been ready to roll. And it was tough. But thankfully, another angle to this is some clutch kicking that you had at your disposal as well that sort of continue to allow you to keep your head above water. And then when you can really cash in for 6, obviously that's making you feel really, really good. But I don't know where else we could start, Chris, football-wise, other than with Shield Wood's group, because I was saying to you prior to us recording, there's just another few examples of plays this weekend where you see a chain of events and a chain of individuals impacting those events, and you're thinking, yeah, that's how we wanted this assembly line to work. You run away from David Bailey or Lee Hunter or Romello Height, and then we've got somebody on the back end that's going to take advantage of your mistake. Jacob Rodriguez, Bryce Pollock, whoever it might be. And we saw it again, man. I can't stop grinning over somehow Joey McGuire now having transitioned this program into being one that has got the defense as the tip of its spear. And that is a winning recipe. We know that.
I mean, and you're getting, I don't know if you're there, there's still more chapters to be written here, but you're getting close to where people are going to start comparing all other teams in Texas Tech history to this one. You're in a different era, a different league compared to what you used to be in, but you'd be hard-pressed not to say that this is the best defense that you've ever had in school history to this point. I mean, I don't want to get caught up in the moment, but I mean, the numbers are staggering. And I think, can we get into the, cause I think this ties in to your point here. Can we get into the 4th and 2 decision to go for it at the end of the half? Because this is an offensive decision, but I think it's really a defensive conversation. So you largely control the first half, don't have near as much to show for it as you would have hoped. And you decide to go for it on 4th and 2. I actually said on the broadcast, and I was kind of in the minority. I was like, I think you ought to kick it because you can ensure it keeps it as 2-score game, but it's 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions to tie it and things like that. And I thought my line of thinking was your defense is playing so good. If you don't get this, you run the risk of giving back any momentum that you would have had going in the locker room. Yes, you get the ball coming out of the second half, but you ensure keeping momentum and like the train on the tracks and all that with going up 16-0. And it's largely in your back pocket. You decide to go for it. I think the analytics are going to all point to saying go for it. And Joey, the first thing I asked him when I talked to him is, we just thought if we went for it, we totally changed their game plan, and you're kind of going for the jugular there. You're here to win. Okay, I get all that. I think that we are all so trained and still in the process of having to adjust to this, how good this defense is that I think I was thinking about it completely wrong
First, today's episode brought to you by Wayfair. And there's something nice about getting back into a routine you love, and Wayfair makes it easy to set yourself up for the season ahead. From bedding and linens to storage solutions for every room, Wayfair is your one-stop shop to refresh your home. So convenient to find exactly what you need all in one place and at a price that fits any budget. Plus, the delivery is fast and free, even for something big. It's the perfect time to get your home just right, whether organizing, upgrading, or simplifying, and Wayfair has got you covered on all fronts. Get organized, refreshed, and back to the routine for way less. Just head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com, WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
I think I was thinking about it completely wrong in that Joey went for it because his defense is so good. Not take the points because your defense is so good. He's like, yeah, let's take a chance here because our defense is so good. They just hadn't really been on your side of the 50. They hadn't had many explosive plays. They just couldn't get behind you. You were having to make them drive it. And it's just because we're so used to the offense having to carry the day, having to carry the program, having to start hot and, whatever. Yes, you had a bunch of red zone issues. I think BYU had a lot to do with that too. Some drop passes and all that contributes to it. But I just think it speaks to how good this unit is, what Sheil Wood has done with this group and playmakers at all three levels. It's just been way better than anybody. I mean, so BYU comes into this thing running it for 216 a game, and they catch you with a few chunk runs early in LJ Martin, and you look up and let's see, Cam, just to be sure, so I have this right. I think they ran it for 2.5 yards a carry. Yeah, 67 total yards on the ground. That's it. I mean, held one of the top rushing teams in the country to like nearly 10 yards below your average of what you're allowing, and you lead the country. I mean, if we know that going into this thing, BYU doesn't have a chance. Turns out they did not.
I'm saying the 13.5 is too low if I'm knowing that going into this thing. And I didn't know that going into this thing. So when I'm seeing that prior, as you and I kind of said last week, double-digit favorite.
And is that what the spread ballooned to before
it was
kickoff?
2 touchdowns, yeah, and it may have been 14.5. The last number I saw prior to kick was 2 touchdowns.
Nobody could figure it out, like why it was. All their guys played. I actually did a radio interview before the game around 9 a.m. or something, and it was like one of the Sirius national shows, Sirius Radio, and one of the questions they asked me was like, "What do you think about the size of the line?" And so I start, well, they're a big offensive line. I think you're going to have a. He's like, no, I'm talking about the spread, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, Chris, you Puritan, you wanted to talk offensive?
Yeah, I didn't. But at the time, I didn't know that it was like growing because for a number to move that much. It's an injury, it's weather, it's something, and there was really nothing there. LJ Martin played. I don't think he was 100%, but everybody played. There was no in or out that would have affected it. It's just I think people just started leaning late. Maybe they saw the atmosphere. People like start watching game day and be like, "Oh man, this place is." Because I had I had one of our top of the food chain type folks that help contribute to putting this team together standing me next to the sideline, and he said, dude, if this was a 7:00 kick, I would have given us a 99.9% chance to win this thing. And he starts looking around. He goes, but right now I got it at about 93, just because we were, it was just, that's why we love sports so much is days like this or yesterday, because the energy, you can't go buy it. You can't go bottle it up. You can't go manufacture it. Like big games are big games for a reason. And you had been starved. It's so like Colorado last year, this game against BYU, part of that being what it is because you had been starved for so long. You had not been in this environment. You had not been in meaningful conference battle, much less national type scenarios. And it was just all there, because this was, you know, Cal, we can sit here and him and haw about it all we want, but this was a zero-sum game in many ways. You don't get this done, your CFP chances take a serious hit, because your chances to get to Arlington would have been very difficult, and you would have needed a lot of help in some ways. And now you've got this one on your resume, and it's funny because I don't think BYU will take too much of a hit in the rankings. They'll take a bit of a hit. I just don't think it'll be a massive one, because the committee and everybody realizes how good Texas Tech is. I mean, you've won every game. You hadn't been in a close win yet. You won every game by 22 points or more. And it's what they say. What do they say is the saying, speaking of gambling and everything, like good teams win, great teams cover. Well, I mean, yeah, man. So 10, 10 and a half, 11, 11 and a half, 13 and a half, 14, whatever it was. Yeah. I mean, everybody won. So, but your defense is just, it's special. And yet it's not even at full strength because of no Skylar Go Howard. But wow.
That's a great word for it. Wow. I might even say freaking wow. Individual standouts, Chris, defensively. Show me a better game that a linebacker can play than what we saw from Jacob Rodriguez. I'd love to see it. Cole Wisniewski, show me a better tackling safety in America. I would love to see it. And I'm not even talking about the highlight. I'm just talking about when you meet him, the play is over. Wherever he is, the play is over. It's going to be done. He's going to make the tackle. And Chris, on a day where you only, I believe, technically collect one sack, and I wasn't even sure about that because I think that was the Lee Hunter Bear Bachmeier backwards pass situation. But you were a lot of close but no cigars sack-wise. And a lot of credit to Bachmeier for making it really, really tough, obviously, to get home. But a day where you don't even really light it up in that category at all, still you're just watching what they're doing along the D-line all the time, and it is wreaking havoc. We do not have a column for wreaking havoc. But that one would have been filled up by 31, 9, 2, 33, 51, go on and on and on. I just these individuals that make up this beautiful, beautiful portrait of a defense are so much fun to watch, and it's almost somebody different every play that's like sticking his head up like, hey, I'm going to do something crazy right now. I'm going to make a huge play, or I'm going to punish this guy, or whatever it might be. And there were a couple that were just fingertips away from other dynamic plays, like another interception or Romello Height possibly getting his hand. What could have been is amazing, but what was absolutely excellent.
Yeah, you know, I don't know what your QB pressure numbers will be, but you probably tallied quite a few of those. But I think this was a tough spot to put this kid in. I thought Bachmeier was, you know, that's a lot to ask, and I thought he was tough. He was hard to get down. I mean, they were saying on the different, I guess, telecasts and everything like that, he's up to like 260. He's just really thick. Just kind of a younger version. The closest I can come up with is like a Colin Klein starter kit. A bit of a different player. It's just this kid's just so young, but really thick in the lower half, and you know, not going to necessarily run away from people, but just slippery and breaks tackles. He wants to go north and south. I think your goal is to try to make him go east-west, but this was the second best offensive, or this is the best offensive line, let me phrase it that way, that you'd seen since Utah with all those first-round draft picks. That's how well, and their scheme, their coaches are really smart, shocker, but their scheme is such that they always run it so well, and they max protect at a time when they get some of these shots down the field, and it doesn't matter how good you are up front, you just have a hard time getting there. Like the quarterback is gonna have time when they max protect, and you got, you know, tight ends and the running back doing their thing, and these are big people. They're tight end, a massive human. LJ Martin is 220, 215, 220, a load. The quarterback is massive, but they could never get behind you. You know, there weren't just a lot of explosives. from a down the field standpoint. So the game was kind of played in that phone booth, if you will, and that benefits Texas Tech large in part because it brings those linebackers into play. And their scheme was going to be one that would, in ways, this is why you don't get any sack numbers, it negates the edge pressure, but you're still going to have to block Romello and Bailey, and they still kind of got home and made plays when they needed to at times. They just looked a little bit different. It wasn't your traditional drop back, oh no, here I go. These were more, 1 yard gains. This is a BYU offense. It just doesn't, there's just not a lot of tackles for loss to be had. They may only have a yard or two gain there, but they just kind of lean on you a little bit, and this is what they've done to people. But it's a tough football team. And I will say this, I'm not trying to get too much on this tangent, but I think it's just worth mentioning. BYU, their player behavior, impeccable. I'm not saying everybody was perfect. There wasn't a lot of, CD, Caleb Douglas and one of their DBs got into a shoving match toward the end of the game. But Bachmeier repeatedly trying to help up defenders that were trying to tackle him. There just seemed to be a lot of, not trying to be corny, but good sportsmanship there. And for such a high level matchup, it was worth mentioning because I just down there seeing it, and I just thought Bachmeier, he'll grow from this. He'll be better, and this is a team that you could absolutely see again in Arlington. I think that's what the odds-on favorite it certainly looks like, but their team is just, they're solid, man. There's not a lot of weaknesses there, but you happen to be a bit better, certainly, in your defense was the biggest reason why. They just really never came up with an answer, because when they tried to go to the run, I think they hit you with a few early on in the game, and then Shieldwood kind of adjusted a bit, and then they just didn't really crease you for much more than that at all. And maybe that's because LJ Martin was far less than 100%. I don't know, but just special defensive performance, man. They just really didn't have any answers. And we're sitting here going, oh, man, you left some points on the board. Oh, no, you should have taken the 3. Oh, man, all these red zone opportunities. Well, it turns out none of that mattered or really even came close to mattering because your defense would just own the day. Period.
Yeah, the explosive plays for BYU, non-existent. They had one play. First, today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet only $5, and if your bet hits, you're getting $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. Play your props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. Any way you like it, FanDuel has you covered, and it's quick, easy, and secure every time. Ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. The explosive plays for BYU, non-existent. They had one play over 20 yards. One. And it was 21 yards. Long rush for the day, 12. If you slipped into a Red Raider coma for a decade or so and you're just now coming out, you have no clue what has happened. But let me tell you, welcome to the party. It's the golden era. I'm trying to get this across to my very young daughters. I know you're only 18 months, but you better savor this flavor because it ain't always like this. Yeah. You're showing up in the middle of right now.
You're spoiling them early, Cowan. Yeah, they're going to know no different. It's like, hey, it's not always been like this.
But I know I already mentioned him, Cole Wisniewski. Like coming on as the season goes. You remember we had a question early, like, hey, the tackle numbers are not that big, or I hadn't noticed this is like maybe 3 weeks in or something. I don't know. As secure of a tackler, and some of these are punishing, but he's fantastic. Love Cole Wisniewski.
Well, and he was one of the first additions to this class, and I think we knew how big of an addition it was. But what has been fun about your team, and now we'll just hone it in on defense, is like typically this is the kind of matchup, historically speaking, where you would have not fared well. A team that just wants to line up and run it right at you, and you may be hanging there for a bit, and then the dam breaks, and then they just kind of can do whatever they want. You look up, and they've run for 250 plus, and you just don't have anything that holds up against it. And it doesn't matter who you have in the game, whether it's scheme or personnel, it's just not a good matchup, right? And this is a matchup that really highlights how good Cole Wisniewski with what his skill set is, in that he's he can cover, no doubt, but he's a great safety from a run support standpoint, and you get to see it repeatedly in this game. And the better teams in this league this year, I think Utah, BYU, Arizona State, large in part with what you've seen, Houston, they're all built similarly, and this is not like a spread it out tempo. It's more of a opportunistic, where we really want to base everything off the run game and QB run game and all those kinds of things. And he shows up, and he is you're right, man. He's an eraser. It's kind of like a basketball equivalent of having a shot blocker, because he is probably the best open field tackler at the safety position I've seen at Texas Tech since somebody that's on the current staff, and Deshaun Johnson. Deshaun Johnson had to make way too many tackles in his tenure because he was the last line of defense, and it's never good when you look up and it's like Deshaun Johnson ends up with 12 tackles. But he was phenomenal at it and had to be. Otherwise, there's just, all kinds of explosives. But Cole is that now.
I'd love to chart like the yardage on where Wisniewski's tackles are happening. You want to collect 15 of them, and they're all within 6 yards of the line of scrimmage. That's a different kind of deal, and he is coming downhill. You better understand that. And I think it's kind of hilarious to think about a ball carrier. Somebody's like, broke through the first. Bailey, Hythe, Hunter in my rear view. Oh, here's Rodriguez. Dodged him. Oh, thank God. Only DBs left. Oh, who is this guy? Okay, it's Cole Wisniewski.
He's built like a linebacker, man. He's
early on. I remember, because I'd never obviously seen him in person or anything, and you're like, the measurables are like the physicality this guy can bring to the table. Look out for that, and that's another check on your ledger. Good call.
He's 6'4", 220, but he is. Here's the best way to describe this. He is an extension of your linebacking group in that he is well studied. He is just a stud of a human. He's older, and he looks like a linebacker as well. So I just think that's an easy kind of. But they ask him to play essentially what is a strong safety position, and he just showed up repeatedly. So I'm glad you mentioned him, because we have talked a lot about Jacob and the linebackers and your edges and Lee Hunter and all the things, but Cole Wisniewski deserves his flowers. And I don't know what Bear Bachmeier was thinking when he jumped up in the air on that one play. And to tell you a lot about Cole, a lot of guys after a hit like that, just the way it worked, they just stood over the guy and he just got right back up, ran on the middle of the field, and good people. But he has been a sneaky good addition to what you've got on the back end of this defense, man. Really good player.
No doubt. I know. Look, when you have a defensive day like they had and like they have had this year, everyone is deserving of accolades. We just don't have the time to name every defender on the roster, but we could. So if we missed you, shout out to you as well. Offensively, Chris, Texas Tech on the offensive side of things, I thought did what I was hoping they were going to be able to do. Number one, and I know it was on your 3 keys to the game list as well, run the damn ball. And you even said something to the effect of keep it simple, don't overcomplicate things, run the ball. And as we are at the halftime break, even thinking about the sequence there going into it, or thinking about BYU's defense being able to get to Baron Morton a few times, I don't like any of those things. But I'm sitting there looking at a pair of running backs that had ran for about 100 yards in the first half, and you hadn't really unhitched the wagon yet. But again, like with some other games this year, I'm thinking, boy, that probably bodes well for a second half effort, in that you've been able to establish that so far. Offensively, I thought Texas Tech was up against as stout of a challenge as maybe they have seen, or at least as stout, maybe compared to Utah or some others. But Chris, I know BYU, like I already said, won some of those rounds along the way in this fight. I hate see Baron Morton going down or even experiencing any contact whatsoever. But I thought the offensive line won enough rounds to win the day. And at the end of the day, you ran the ball. And that is what I wanted to see first and foremost. So I get, the nitpicking or the red zone issues or things like that. And we can do it. I know we will to some degree. But overall, I thought the offense was effective. And Baron Morton, I thought, to be honest with you, had one of his more impactful or impressive days to me. And that is also in the context of what he's facing, number one. But number two, what was left on the table, meat on the bone, some drops that are keeping some of the numbers less than what they should have been otherwise. So there are all my offensive layers to consider, Chris. How are you processing the day for Mac Leftwich's game?
Yeah, they threw the ball a lot early in the game, and I was I don't know if that's just what I'm gonna have to go back and look to be sure, but I don't know if that's just what they were. This is a really good BYU defense. It is. These guys are big. We talked about that last week. I mean, these linebackers were an impressive group. They are unorthodox in that they will blitz a lot on first and second down, whereas a lot of teams will blitz on third down and play man. These guys sprinkle a lot of blitzes in on first and second down and play man, and it's kind of like a shock to the system, which you saw, I think, Barron, and I don't think Joey was very pleased with Barron kind of scrambling into pressure and would have preferred, and Barron's got to be better about throwing the ball away. But if you go watch the game, there is nobody open. And they just kind of catch you. These are coverage sacks, but Barron's just got to be better about throwing the ball away. But I did like that what did you end up with? What was it, about like 150 yards rushing? I think it was, 149. And your yards per carry were okay, but I thought these were tough, grinded out, because this is a legit defense. And I thought they bowed up in the red zone and caused you some problems. Yes, there were some drops that need to be caught. The 1 4th and 2 drive, I mean, Coy Aiken drops one in his hands. Terrence Carter drops one on the 4th down. And these are touchdowns. I thought there was a couple of 50-50 balls that you're hoping your receiver will catch. They don't make a play. And there was one, there was a one chunk play that Coy Aiken had that the ball was underthrown that could have been picked, but Coy made a
great play on that one.
He came back to it, made a play on it, and all that. So the receiver in this case maybe bails out the quarterback, but it was just kind of a grind, right? And I think that because these games look so different than we're used to, and because your defense is so good, that relying on field goals isn't the worst thing, and not being as crisp. Now, Joey, on the other hand, he was quite frustrated after it was over, having to settle for 3, the penalties, the drops, of trying to evade the rush and scrambling into pressure. I mean, there's plenty to choose from there. And so we're clear, Joey was not really wanting to get into details after it, but it was reported on the telecast that Barron has a hairline fracture. I believe that story to be true. In his leg. This is what happened to him in game 1. Yes, you heard fracture. And I think he's just been playing through it. He's cleared. He's got, as they showed it on the telecast, he's got padding on the side of that thing. And I don't have any reason to dispute that. And I think that it's just going to be something you're kind of dealing with here with him. So everybody sees him limping and you're just kind of laboring. Unfortunately, maybe because he doesn't throw it away, he gets hit more than he needed to. And that kind of, but he's just toughing it out, man. And you don't really have any chance to go where you want to go without him. So they've got to figure that out. And it would behoove you, we'll get into this later in the week, but it would really behoove you to take care of your business right out of the gate this weekend and get his butt out of there. And a lot of folks out of there and move on and then head into a bye week just so he, of all people, just can go hey, man, this week I'm not going to do anything, because he's dealing with a real thing They put the X-ray up on the telecast. I mean, for goodness sakes.
Did they really? I missed that.
Oh yeah, I
didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a little gap where there's supposed to be that white bone. There's a little gap in there where it's fractured. I don't know when that X-ray is from. I don't know if that's a recent one or initially or whatever. But this is what he's been dealing with, and the only thing that will heal it is just rest and not having it hit and all those things. So when you I think to your point, it's a really good defense. He's gutting it out. Contextually, I think that while statistically a very average game for him, plenty of throws he would love to have back, plenty of throws that he makes that his teammates don't necessarily help. But I just have a hard time kind of – again, this game was just one of those heavyweight punch you in the mouth, kind of grind it out games that you just never were built to win before. Just weren't able to do it. Like, oh boy, bad matchup. And it turned out this was a really bad matchup for BYU because you have some explosive players, like guys that can make something of nothing. And it didn't take a ton. They were even talking about it on the telecast, and we've kind of described this as we've gone along. Your offense can look kind of average. You're kind of grinding out, and then you just hit an explosive, and then you go tempo, and then look out. Okay, well then there's your score. You know what I mean? And you lead the country in explosive plays, and this is what got you to where you wanted to go yesterday. So
I don't know what people want from Behren Morton at this point in time. Just put a cork in it. Shut up. It is what it is. He is what he is. And you say it's an average day for him, but it's really like his day. And it's the day the team needs to win games.
Yeah.
He threw for 219. He probably could have had 275, closer to 3 if balls are not being dropped. Would have had another touchdown, if not 2 more, if balls are not being dropped. Give me a break, man. You could wish your wife was Kate Upton, but she's a pretty good gal for what she is. And she's probably just right for your house, by the way. You think you could handle that in your house? No. We would all like the best college quarterback there's ever been to come out and throw for 450 yards every freaking week. But what are you doing? It ain't a video game. It ain't fantasy football. And I couldn't care any less if he threw for 112 every week and won the game. You know what the most interesting column was to me? 0 interceptions. I do not care, Chris, about statistical prolific days for the quarterback when you have a team like this. And as a matter of fact, I probably prefer this where it's a bonus if all of a sudden the QB goes off. It's not necessarily a requirement. So, and I've had these questions over the last few weeks like, hey, they're saying Behrens feeling good. How healthy is he? And with these rumblings about what you're just talking about there and hairline fractures, I've responded with, I don't know, about a 6.8. How healthy would you be with a fractured anything? And you're playing football.
Yeah.
So I'm so over that conversation. And I know that is the refuge that the simplest minded seek the soonest in a football game. So thank you for the texts and the messages and all those things about Behren Morton so early on as you were pulling your hair out and going insane. And then what happened later? Oh, yeah, 3 touchdown win. My bad. I should have been there with you freaking out early, I guess. What was I thinking? Not. Over it. And by the way, don't be confused about the rushing statistics. You were 2 yards short of 200. There were 50 that were lost, sack adjusted.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
200 yards on the day. You did what needed to be done. It was not perfect. It never will be. So I'm going to stop even hedging anything with that kind of stuff because if you think there's one of those days out there, give me a break. It ain't the Globetrotters and the Generals. The other guys get to try too. Well, it may sort of be this week, with all due respect to the Citronauts. 3 touchdown favorite. Tech is opening up as against Central Florida. Fitting the description of the final home victim, at least. We got plenty of time this week to get ready for that one, Chris, and a few other things to consider from the weekend that was. On our next episode, I want to get to how truly Texas Tech at the steering wheel. You got it all in front of you now as you win the biggest game of the season, so far at least. So looking forward to that, man. Appreciate the time and perspective on this reaction episode, and we'll see you for the next one.
Yeah, and Cowan, before we get out, I heard you, Cowan heard you, we all heard you. There's just, I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say I probably was bumped into or yelled at in a nice way, 50, 60 different people that consume the show from all parts of the country, really. I think I was told Atlanta. I was told Houston. I was told Minnesota. I was told Midland. I was told, and I even had somebody say, "Man, you guys keep me sane," And I'm like, "Whoa, man, you need to aim higher than that if we're keeping you sane." But it is our pleasure to kind of storytell this greatest season you've had in a long, long time, and we're all in this thing together. And it's just, I just, and again, I said at the beginning, but you just couldn't hide the joy that many felt yesterday, and you deserved it. So I know Cowan would echo this, but we're thrilled for you all that you got to experience that after suffering through a lot of lean football years. You're still owed nothing. There's more work to do. You haven't won anything, nor have you clinched a spot in anything, but that was a big one. And I think everybody knew it, and we could be having a much different conversation. So I just very appreciative and glad everybody could go to bed happy on a Saturday night, man. More fun times to come.
Yeah, no doubt. You've got it all in front of you. The must win now won, as I said in my immediate reaction video. And they continue, surprise, to remain must win.
They do.
So thankfully we're well practiced in that in recent weeks, and we'll get right back to it for another week coming up. Get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. Thanks to the everydayers for always being out there. And of course, the Matador Mob. Hit our show notes and find a link to a free 14-day trial. That's your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text sent straight to your phone. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks as always for the time. We hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.